right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Southwestern College's Work-Based Learning Processes presentation. I am Brandy Bass, and I am the lead Work-Based Learning Coordinator. We also have Victor Brown, who is our SES Specialist, JPCM, and we have Genesis Lustrea Quicho, Internship Job Developer with us today. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we dive into our processes, we thought it might be a little helpful to talk out how our structure is a little bit different. So at Southwest College, we utilize the WBL investment a little bit differently. Rather than funding one or two positions, we actually divided the funds to create 10 work-based learning coordinator roles, and they each support their own school and center at Southwestern College. So at Southwestern College, we have one main campus and 3 higher education centers. So Jennifer, the dean of the project, recognized very early on that getting buy-in from faculty and moving that needle in WBL would have to come from one of their own. I serve as the lead work-based learning coordinator. I help coordinate the group, more of the back end to help keep things running, make sure everyone meets their deliverables, coordinate registration, referrals, project development. Coordinators come to me with questions, and then I connect with Jennifer once a month, help give us, discuss progress and or challenges, and build our monthly coordinator meetings. I also represent the WBL coordinators at the region meetings and in the conduit to bringing the information from the college to the region and vice versa. So to make sure that we're all on the same page, we actually do have a standard operating process. We have a document to explain how to be a work-based learning coordinator, how we institutionalize and operationalize our specific process. Also, each semester, we do attend our department and school meetings. We share new information about what the WBL team has been working on, as well as promotion of any professional development or WBL events that are happening on our campuses. We also have a Google Share Drive with tools and resources to share with each other. So everything and anything that we've ever brainstormed or created, as well as attendance for PD events or any faculty we've assisted, it lives in this Google Drive so that we all have equal access and opportunity for live edits and changes. Along with this, we also hold monthly meetings and have monthly deliverables to keep us all on track with our WBL work and who is doing what. We also have Genesis, funded by local Strong Force dollars, and Victor, funded by regional Strong Workforce dollars, and they are housed within our Student Employment Services office. They are absolutely essential and integral parts to the work that we do as WBL coordinators. Altogether, this is our WBL team. So I did want to mention throughout our presentation, you're going to see a little asterisk. If there's an asterisk, it means that this is where we help document and record information with the faculty and students that we work with. Okay. So our WBL coordinators are strictly faculty facing. So we're really focused on developing that infrastructure for work-based learning at Southwestern College and supporting our faculty. So this work is really for the classroom and how we ultimately connect to our students. So in this very first box, this is where faculty learns about work-based learning. So we actually have several different ways to help educate and support and connect our faculty with resources. So the first, the work-based learning coordinators host 4 professional development presentations per semester. And with each presentation, we make sure that we take attendance and have a follow-up feedback survey to see what faculty would like us to talk more about or explore further in future presentations. We also create semesterly newsletters that highlight specific WBL activities, new and or existing WBL activities on the campus, testimonials, and a calendar of events. Even though a lot of our efforts are group oriented, we do work individually within our schools, like I mentioned, because we each represent our own school. So we do attend our own department school meetings each semester and share new WBL information. This past semester, we launched our WBL certificate for faculty. This certificate is a 4-week asynchronous certificate course that focuses on the history of WBL, how WBL connects to student learning, WBL definitions, on and off campus WBL resources, and ultimately how to create/incorporate a WBL assignment into their syllabus and their course. And in a few slides, we'll actually talk more about why the syllabus portion is really, really important to our work here at Southwestern College. And then also in October, we launched our WBL website. And this website hosts WBL definitions, the scaffolding of WBL into our courses, testimonials and videos, and information about upcoming presentations and the certificate and how to get connected. Then in our second box, this is our process for faculty to reach out to a WBL coordinator. So this is where our individual school work really, really comes into play. This is our chance to explore and possibly develop WBL opportunities with a faculty member. So we sit down, or in this environment, we Zoom and review how their class fits on the WBL continuum to ensure that the WBL opportunity is appropriate for their class. And then we help either create a brand new assignment or opportunity, or we actually help modify an assignment so that it can include WBL. At this time, we also review possible WBL opportunities or resources that are currently already in action on the campus. And we see if we can plug those into their class. So for example, we have created multiple Canvas common assignments, and sometimes it's easier for an instructor to pull that assignment template from Canvas and then plug it into their class. So the last step would also to be refer the instructor to other resources or departments on campus, such as student employment services. If the instructor was looking for more of an employer partnership, that is where they would go. So in that third box, we'll talk about faculty working with student employment services, or SES, to locate employer partners. So if a faculty member really would like to explore WBL opportunities such as career panels, employer events on or off campus, or develop new employer relationships, the faculty would actually work with our SES team, or Genesis and/or Victor. We also have other departments within student support services that incorporate WBL activities. These look like service learning, NEPRIS, which is our new virtual guest speaker platform, and virtual job shadow. So if a faculty wanted to connect with any of these resources, we would refer them via a warm handoff to that respective department. And that department would then assist the faculty member and track/record any student interactions they have. And then in that last box, throughout each process, we do encourage faculty to update their syllabus, which we will talk more about syllabi review in a few slides, for WBL documentation purposes, and then take attendance at every PD event, every participant list that we have access to for our certificate course or individual department meetings. So based on this data, we have so far served over 300 faculty through professional development presentations. We had 17 completers of our WBL certificate. We developed 4 semester WBL newsletters. We have developed or partnered together to create 5 Canvas common assignments. And therefore, all of this effort together has actually helped create a 56% increase in student experiences at Southwestern College. So we'll actually discuss this number a little bit further in a few slides when we talk more about our syllabi review process. So as mentioned above, work-based learning coordinators are strictly faculty facing. However, in the event that a student does come to us and want assistance, we then just directly hand them off via warm handoff to student employment services so that Genesis and/or Victor can help them in any way.
So as Brandy mentioned, our work-based learning coordinators are indeed faculty facing. And if students are really looking to pursue work-based learning opportunities outside of the classroom, our work-based learning coordinators, our faculty, and our staff can refer those students to me. Again, throughout this slide, we're indicating that all documentation that occurs is happening with an asterisk. So how do students learn about work-based learning opportunities and student employment services? Well, that happens numerous ways. It was really important to us that students begin to think about their careers early on. And so in both CCC MyPath and the online orientation, there's modules telling students about our office and how we can support them in their career development throughout the student life cycle. At Southwestern College, we also use Handshake as our job board and career development platform. This has been integrated with our student information systems, and so every student actually has Handshake in their student portal. So students may find us just as they're exploring job opportunities within the platform. You'll also hear us today mention Handshake quite often as we talk about documentation, because it also serves as our career services management platform where we're documenting our interactions with both students and employers. Students will also learn about us through their classes because we're doing presentations, promotional videos, or have actually taken part in those WBL activities inside their classes with them. We also send several email newsletters to students and post frequently on social media about our various events and our services. At Southwestern College, we call guided pathways Jaguar pathways, and this group has begun to create several field of study Canvas shells, and these shells are sharing lots of information about the major, their field of study, and how to be successful in your programs. There's information in these shells also about our department, and we've developed a career action plan checklist that outlines for students what various work-based learning opportunities and career development opportunities they should consider taking part in. Lastly, faculty, counselors, staff, and our work-based learning coordinators know to refer students directly to us. So if a student reaches out to us, we will have them fill out an initial intake form when they make an appointment, and we'll meet to discuss their career goals and explore the various opportunities and employers of interest. We document the conversation in Handshake, and if needed, like in the case of internships, for example, I'll help them with their resume, their cover letter, and interview prep. Whenever it's possible, we are trying to connect students to existing opportunities, career panels, tours, events, and employers. But if an opportunity or relationship doesn't exist, then I work to develop those relationships. Again, documenting any activity, any outreach I do to make that happen. We're not going to go into too much detail here about what we do to make that happen, because we're going to share that a little bit later in our employer outreach process slide. And then once a student participates in the out of classroom work-based learning opportunity, whether that's an informational interview I connected them with, a career panel, or an internship, we're documenting that information in Handshake and sending an evaluation form to the student for feedback.
So as the job placement case manager at Southwestern College, I support students in finding employment. And here's our process. And the first step, I do a proactive inreach to students each semester and throughout the semester. I contact our student services data software specialists and request a list or report for all of our CE students who have 45 units or more, and those who have also petitioned to graduate by the end of the semester. I then send an email to these students informing them of our services, and I do this in order to help more students obtain employment in their fields of study. I target those who have taken more courses within their major and may be closer to graduation. But my caseload isn't limited to just those CE students close to graduation. I help all who request a job search assistance. Those students may find out about our services through in-class presentations, we coordinate with faculty, promotional videos we've made for our Canvas classes, emails sent promoting various positions and events on our social media platforms, such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or even those who just stop by our department to review the job leads or find us on our Southwestern College website in their search for employment. And of course, there's always the old-fashioned referral from faculty, staff, and also our counselors. In the second step, after a student is identified or states that they're seeking employment, I assess students for their level of service and assistance needed when booking an appointment with me. They complete a short initial intake form in Handshake regarding their desires for work, career goals, potential obstacles like access to a car, etc., and what sort of support they're looking for, such as resume, interview assistance, personal assistance, job assistance, and so forth. Then, in meeting with the student, we have a larger conversation to review their form and discuss their career goals and job search. Notes regarding the appointments are entered into Handshake, as Genesis mentioned. And we have the student's intake form as documentation as well. If after the initial intake form and our discussion, if I find the student could benefit more from additional support in career exploration and preparation, I'll refer them out to other resources. One important difference to note about our college is that we have both a career center and a student employment services center. These are two separate departments to assist students with their careers. Our student employment services department focuses on connecting students to jobs, internships, and preparation for work, while our career center focuses on more self-assessment and major career exploration. The Career Center is focused on also transfer and long-term career planning as well. We understand this can often be confusing for individuals outside of our college, but our two departments work closely together. Genesis and I are actually a part of the Student Employment Services Department, so we spend time helping students with resumes, interview assistance, hosting CE-specific career panels, job fairs, and connecting students to internships and employment. We're strengthening our Career Center at this time, as our Career Center does not have any full-time staff, so we regularly schedule the duties of both departments and take their student referrals as well. We carry those responsibilities. And going to step 3, so with that said, if a student needs more assistance with career exploration, I'll keep them on my caseload, but I'll refer them to the Career Center workshops for self-assessment and career exploration. If a student is clear on their career goals, but maybe they just need more experience and can benefit from an individual WBL activity, I'll refer them to Genesis, who can assist them with things like internships and job shadows. For instance, if someone wants to work as a data analyst or psychologist, but they have no work experience or none in the field, I'll refer them to Genesis to do an informational interview or an internship. But if a student is ready to work, I will help them with their resume, cover letter, interview, etc. All this again is documented in Handshake. Students, whether they're CE major or students outside of our CE fields, will be assessed and remain on my caseload. Even if I refer them to another department, I'll follow up to assist them. In step 4, I have a student who is prepared for a job search. I'll send the student job leads, engage in focused employer outreach, and speak with employers on their behalf, and engage in check-ins with the students as well. In step 5, once a student is hired, it's documented in Handshake, and we also send students a student employment services experience form, which asks questions about their position, if the position offers a living wage, if the student will be willing to contact us in future for assistance with job search. And this is mainly to help keep track of students for reporting purposes in the future, such as the CTEOS. Since coming on board last year, we've served nearly 2,800 students, averaging about 3,000 student interactions per month. Sorry for the background.
Now that you've heard a little bit about how we engage our faculty and our students, we'd also like to share how we serve and work with our employers. In building our employer outreach processes, we really have the guiding principle of minimizing the burden for employers in mind. Throughout this slide, again, we're indicating all of the documentation that occurs with the asterisk. When Victor and I outreach to employers for job opportunities or to participate in work-based learning, we first refer to our existing relationships and review the job opportunities and employers that we have in Handshake. We'll also try to utilize our own personal and professional networks before going out. When we find that we absolutely don't have any opportunities that we're particularly looking for right now, we do have a process for locating new employer contacts. First, we meet with our faculty or discuss with our faculty what target companies they'd like us to focus on, and we'll ask for additional insights that may help us in better promoting their program and their students. Then we'll reach out to the SWC Foundation for their possible connections. Our SWC Foundation handles our Alumni Association as well as our scholarships and community partnerships. In our current process, we then move on to doing our own research and outreach using LinkedIn, the EDCs, the chamber, and cold calls to local organizations within the community. But with that said, moving forward, in reflecting on this process, we know that we want to be more intentional about inquiring with our regional directors about possible relationships that they may have already formed. Now, when an employer reaches out to Southwestern College, we first assess their level of interest and the involvement that they want to have at Southwestern. If they simply want to post a job opportunity, then we'll share our process in doing so. But if an employer is really looking to establish a pipeline for talent and are looking to build an organization's brand at Southwestern, then we discuss the various ways the company can do that. We'll then connect them to other various departments if needed. We'll connect them with our faculty and our work-based learning coordinators if they want to be more involved in the classroom. We'll connect them with our SWC foundations if they're interested in scholarships. A really good example of this is just last month, we were working with RSM, which is a public accounting firm, and they wanted to do a info session and a career panel. So we quickly got them set up with that. But then they also expressed that one of our speakers was an alumni, and they were interested in having a scholarship for our accounting students. And so I connected them with our SWC Foundation to broaden our relationship. We'll connect them with continuing education if they're interested in doing some contracted education and also sponsoring our youth program like our Yes Academy. And finally, we'll connect nonprofit organizations with our service learning department.
Collectively, our team has put a lot of work to set up these processes that connect the faculty, students, and our employers together. One of the biggest examples of the impact we had on this work is through our syllabi review. So a syllabi review is a look into all syllabi across the campus for one academic year with summer, fall, and spring semesters. Each coordinator reviews school syllabi and then documents the WBL opportunities that are happening within of those courses. The information gathered actually helps us make more data-informed decisions, such as what faculty and programs may need or customized support from us. We also use this data for the annual WBL inventory. So instead of sending out the rate each year, we actually collect the data from the syllabi view and then input those numbers into the survey for in-class WBL experiences. This helps us get a more inclusive and accurate view as to what WBL is actually happening on our campus. So the amount of syllabi reviewed between 1819 and 1920 was about the same, but as you can see, the WBL experiences and student interactions increased significantly. WBL experiences increased by almost 71%, and student interactions increased by 56%. It's also notable to mention that out of our 10 schools, 8 schools had an increase in WBL activities, and 4 of those 8 schools had significant increases. So this really helped us see that what we are doing is really, really working on our campus.
As you can probably tell, we are very, very proud of the work that we've done so far. But we also recognize we have lots of work ahead. In the following year, we're really focused on looking for ways to improve our processes and to be more efficient. Because of the majority of courses will continue to be taught online, our work-based learning coordinators will be focused on developing more tools and resources for the online modality. We'd like to collaborate better with all of our regional directors. And as an institution, we're really just beginning to establish our processes for data collection for SG21. For example, right now, for in-class work-based learning activities, we're exploring updating the method of instruction in Curricunet to include work-based learning so that the data can be captured on the back end for the course outline of record, which reports into MIS. Weaving work-based learning into the internal fabric of Southwestern College has always been a focus of ours and will continue to be. Our Dean, Jennifer Lewis, has also committed local strong workforce funds to supporting a lead work-based learning coordinator role and a new industry engagement specialist to help support this work. And finally, we want work-based learning to be part of the culture and part of just how we do things at Southwestern. And so we're working with faculty and leadership towards building work-based learning into student learning outcomes, program learning outcomes, and institutional learning outcomes here at the college.
So thank you very much for taking the time to hear our presentation today. And now we'd like to open up for any questions.
Thank you, guys. Questions, please.
I have two questions. One's really easy. What's your student population? And the other is counseling directly integrated in your work-based learning process?
So population-wise, and Jennifer's online, so she can probably help us too. I think we're hovering right now around 19. Is that right, Jennifer? 19,000?
Yeah, between 19, we've all had a little loss of enrollment due to COVID. Typically, we serve about 25,000. It's our size.
And then in terms of counseling, they're integrated throughout all of our processes. Our counselors will teach courses, so they'll take part in our PD courses and do some work-based learning. In terms of counseling, they're also referring students directly to us. Our career counselors will help in the process a little bit too, but they're all adjunct as well. So we carry the brunt of the work, but they're all very supportive. And Brandy is actually our work-based learning coordinator that supports the School of Counseling. So
Awesome, thank you.
no problem.
Hi, I have a question. Deb Roth from Continuing Ed. I was curious about the professional development opportunity that you've created for work-based learning, the 4-week certificate. Could you speak a little bit more to that? How long it took you to develop, what the receptivity has been, those types of questions.
Absolutely. So we started developing the certificate back in March. It was kind of an idea that we've had from the beginning of our project. As a team, we had 5 of our coordinators help develop this. So about from March to July, it was full force creating all the content. And then we had to meet with our distance education team to make sure that it was accessible for online. And then we actually had our other coordinators review it as well. So that took another month. And then the minute we were ready to go, we actually launched it in October, and we had a lot of interest on our campus. We actually still have a waiting list of participants for the spring. So we did fill up within an hour once the interest list went out, the certificate, and then we already have almost a full certificate load for the next spring. We're actually going to be hosting 2 different sessions this next spring. It went really, really well.
Have you seen any types of shifts in the incorporation of work-based learning, either in the classroom or any additional feedback loops as a result with the industry advisory boards and the connections made as a result of this? I'm really interested in it. It sounds really.
Are you
very
speaking
fascinating.
directly about the certificate?
Well, you know, I think, and I don't know if any of the rest of the colleges are going through this, but sometimes there's a change management process that has to happen, right, with these introductions and these changes. And so trying to understand how maybe this is supporting a shift in the perceptions, or that perceptions are harder to measure, but actually if you're seeing any kind of correlations between work-based learning instances, either in the classroom or the composition of industry advisory boards as a result of what the content, because I haven't, does that make any sense?
Genesis, are you able to speak to this one?
I can't really speak directly to what impact we've been able to have in terms of has work-based learning changed the way that we do our advisory boards, and how we've been able, I honestly, I can't say that work-based learning has had like a direct effect on how we are, the makeup of our advisory boards. I would love to be able to dig a little bit more into that, mainly because I think industry engagement is certainly going to change how employers in the community will look at how strong our programs are, right? And so I think it's definitely something that we haven't taken a close look at yet, but it's definitely something that I think we need to take a look at and see, what perceptions our employers have with more employer interaction within the programs. Does that answer your question, Deborah?
It does. I was just, my eyes lit up when I was hearing that you're getting that kind of participation and that interest. And so I want what you have. So, not to say that continuing ed isn't participating, but it sounds like you've taken it to another level. So maybe we can talk offline so I don't derail this call too much more.
Well, and Deborah, I'll share because I do get the chance to attend some of our industry advisory committee meetings, and I am seeing agenda items talking about work-based learning and how, as an industry advisory committee member, what is your role in providing work-based learning opportunities for the program that you're advising. So we are seeing, and I think that Genesis is absolutely right. There's work to do in this area. And I'm absolutely ready to help support that work with faculty to start to see that on those agenda items as an opportunity for industry to further engage with their programs as they serve on committees.
Kevin, I have a question. First of all, I was super impressed. Not only was your presentation super polished, but the the level of coordination is really impressive. I want to ask a little bit more, just to follow up on this last question related to the demand for the professional development course, and then one of the final comments, which is how you're institutionalizing all of this. So it seems as if you've already made a lot of progress in kind of shifting the culture and having this be, if you have so many people like clamoring to be part of the course, then clearly something has already shifted where the people see that this is a really critical instructional strategy. Can you share a little bit about, whether you reached a tipping point, or whether this has always been part of the Southwestern culture, or whether you've had sort of marketing efforts that have gone along with the certification program that have made it more visible? If you could just share a little bit more. And I love the idea of it being built into all of the learning outcomes at every level.
I can definitely start the conversation. So it's taken quite a bit of work. As you can see through our presentation today, all of this has come together because we worked really hard together to get it off the ground. So in the beginning, it was very difficult to kind of grasp faculty members' participation in kind of anything that we did. And so we took a very group-oriented approach. Really, it started at kind of the beginning of this year, 2020, where we started really doing everything in a group effort. So that's when we started to build the certificate curriculum, knowing that it was a way that faculty could really start exploring WBL. And feedback on the certificate is faculty said, some of the faculty members thought they knew WBL, but when they took our course, they realized that they didn't really truly know what it was, and they didn't really connect it to student learning. So that was a big part of also our professional development presentations that we also put on and along with this. That's kind of how we've gotten a lot of this hype, is because this semester we kind of started that really doing more professional development presentations to really get that buy-in. So it's taken a time to get buy-in, but now that faculty are starting to hear about our presentations and about our outreach, and they're starting to read the newsletters and they're able to go to the website to get information, we're really starting to build it. And so I think with our work within the next year is definitely to continue off of what we have started to build, because now faculty, I think, are really starting to see the impact and how exciting it is, especially when they see those testimonials from our students and other faculty members.
Thank you. Brandy, it looked like Pavel had his hand raised, so we'll go ahead and let Pavel ask the final question, and then we'll go ahead and transition. Thank you again. This has been great.
Thank you, colleagues. And Brandy, I think you mentioned something very critical, which is the next step, what will come next. So my question in general was more for curiosity, and probably Victor might be the best person to answer. It's about the employment engagement that Southwestern College might be already doing in terms of the binational, collaboration. The nature of Southwestern itself being on the border sides of San Diego and Tijuana. If you have, done any projects where a student could be commuters, or they are, working on obtaining certificates in, importing, or those, border trade stuff that allows that type of multinational, approach for work-based learning. So just a comment, question. Yeah, kind of, thank you.
The question, since Southwestern College, we are closer to the border, there are at times job opportunities that come about. One thing that we do is we do some vetting, make sure that the job opportunity is great. We haven't had at this time a lot of job connections directly across the border. We do have a lot of students who do travel back and forth, but at this time we're building our connections. We're building in those areas. It is something that comes up. It's something that we're looking forward to moving into a little bit more, but we haven't had many students at this time that have secured positions across the border directly through our department at this time.
And if I can chime in here, over on the internship side of the house, we do a little bit more, because our students will have those relationships if they're already over there. Particularly in our international business program, we see a lot of students who want to do the cross-border relationships in terms of logistics and transportation. And so we do work with a lot of companies within the Otay Mesa area, the Otay Mesa San Ysidro area, that specialize in that. So within internships, I see a little bit more of it than say Victor does at this current point in time.
Thank you, Southwestern. We really appreciate your demonstration today. One thing that I just wanted to share quickly that stood out to me, and I think I already shared this with you, but at the beginning you talked about, or Brandy talked about, how you guys created a document that talks about how to be a work-based learning coordinator, right? One of the things that I've kind of envisioned or seen or talked about, I think with a couple of the colleges, is like when I had my first adult job and I sat down at the desk in the cubicle and I didn't know what I was doing, I looked up on the shelf and was able to pull that binder down that were the standard operating procedures, right? Of like what my job is and what I should be doing. And when we think about institutionalization and how we make this a regular part of our campus and our work, taking it to that step is going to be very important, especially as, you know, everybody moves up and moves on and so forth, making sure that all this hard work that you guys have put into this is lasting, right? And it's documented for the people who come behind us. And so I appreciate that work that you guys put into it, and maybe in a future COP, we can dig a little deeper into that.